Hello, viewers. You're welcome to this lecture on soil science and ecology. Today's lecture will be on the physical properties of soil. We'll discuss about the soil color. Earlier, we have listed the physical properties of soil, which includes origination, soil color, soil texture, soil temperature, and many other physical properties we had mentioned. So this lecture is basically on soil color. The lecture is on soil color. Now, soil color is the first impression that, or the first thing that anyone sees. Once you see a soil, the first physical property that that you encounter in the soil is its color, because you see the color first hand. That's at first glance. Okay, so it's the first impression one has when viewing soil. Every soil has a color. Color is primarily influenced by soil mineralogy. The color of the soil is influenced by the mineral components of the soil. Many soil colors are due to various iron minerals. Okay, iron is a very important component of soil, and it determines the color of a soil. The iron content of a soil determines whether the soil color will be brown, will be red, yellow, or dark, or even gray. Absence or presence of iron. The development and distribution of color in the soil profile results from chemical and biological weathering, especially redox reaction. Reduction and oxidation reactions in the soil produces various chemical coloration in the soil. As the primary minerals in soil, parent materials wither. The elements combine into new and colorful compounds. When parent materials in the soil wither, they combine to produce colorful compounds, and in turn affects the soil color. In turn, affects the color of the soil. Iron forms secondary minerals of yellow or red color. Iron, the compound or the substance iron, is responsible for the production. The element iron is responsible for yellow and red colors in the soil. Then organic matter decomposes into black and brown compounds that colors the soil to be black or brownish in color. Manganese, sulfur, and nitrogen can form black mineral deposits. These pigments can produce various color patterns within a soil, patterns within a soil. Aerobic conditions produce uniform or gradual color changes, while reducing or anaerobic environments results in rapid color flow with complex mottled patterns and points of color concentration. The aerobic conditions means that when the soil has oxygen or air in the soil actually produces uniform coloration. You see a soil that's uniformly brown or uniformly red or uniformly white. But reducing coloration, what it means that when the soil is hydric, that's when there's no oxygen or air in the soil tends to have a kind of rapid color flow, which produces a mottled pattern of coloration. Produce a mottled pattern of coloration where the color is not very regular. You have different color patches in a particular soil. Now, in most soils, the topsoil is dark because of organic matter. The organic matter that composes. Sometimes when you collect soil from around a tree, you'll see that the soil is usually dark in color because of the leaf litter. So organic matter makes the soil to be dark in color, while the subsoil may be red or brown. The subsoil may be red or brown. So the topsoil is usually dark in color, while the subsoil may be red or brown. And the dark color of the topsoil is because of organic input, dead leaves of plants, and even dead plants themselves and dead animals make the topsoil to have rich content of organic matter and results in dark coloration. The combination of iron oxides and organic content gives many soil types a brown color. When iron oxides combine with organic content, it results in a brown coloration. So iron oxides result in soils that are brownish in color. Iron oxide produces soils that are brownish in color. When iron is reduced to, okay, now in well-aerated soils, oxidized or ferric iron compounds are responsible for the brown, yellow, and red colors you see in soil. So when iron is oxidized, that is when it is in its ferric state, okay, F e raised to power 3, when it is in its ferric state, it tends to make the soil color to be brown, yellow, or reddish in color. Produces brown, yellow, or red colors. Okay, so that's why even in waters that have iron, the water tend to be brownish or reddish in color. It's because of the iron that's present. It's because iron is oxidized. Okay, so when ferric iron is present in the soil, it tends to make the soil to be brown, yellow, or red in color. It tends to make the soil to be brown, yellow, or red in color. When iron is reduced to the ferrous form, that's F raised to power 2 form, it becomes mobile and can be removed from certain areas of the soil. Okay, it becomes mobile and is removed. Okay, when iron is removed, a gray color remains, or the reduced iron color persists in shades of green or blue. So in soils that have much water, the iron is usually removed, and such soils are usually gray in color, or they may have being formed in shades of green or blue coloration because of the absence of iron. So waterlogged soils tend to lose iron, and when the iron is lost, it is washed downwards. So the topsoil is no longer gray, brown or red, but it is now gray in color or has shades of green or blue, as the case may be. So these soil colors resulting from saturation, called redoximorphic features, can indicate the duration of the anaerobic state, ranging from brown with a few motifs to complete gray or glaciation of the soil. So when the color patterns in the soils can tell about the period in which the soil has been saturated, because water is the saturation of the soil by water is what causes iron to be mobile and be removed from the soil surface. So soil scientists define redoximorphic features as features associated with water saturation. Okay, they define the redoximorphic features as features that are associated with water saturation and formed by the reduction and oxidation of iron and manganese compounds in the soil. So, like I said, water saturation means when water gets into the soil, it affects the soil color. The water affects the soil color by removing iron, by oxidizing iron. Iron is now oxidized from ferrous iron to ferric iron. So when water is introduced, iron is reduced from ferric iron to ferrous iron, and when it's removed, the soil color now changes from brown or red to gray or have shades of green or blue. Okay, so the hydration or the saturation of the soil determines the soil color. Okay, so when soil is, if a soil is consistently dry, it tends to be brownish or reddish in color. But in waterlogged areas, okay, particularly in Nigeria, Bayelsa State, where most of the soils are swampy or are found in swampy areas, such soils are not reddish in color, but they are the color tend to be in shades of gray or even green or blue in waterlogged areas, especially in waterlogged areas. So there are some soils, even in Bayelsa State, Nigeria, that is brownish, that are brownish in color. Soils that are dominantly gray with brown or yellow mottled immediately below the surface horizon are usually hydric. That's soils that are dominantly gray with brown or yellow mottles. So if a soil is dominantly gray in color and has brown or yellow patches of color immediately below the surface, such soils are usually wet. Okay, they are usually wet. They are found in waterlogged areas. So such waterlogged areas tend to have such coloration of the soil. High water tables in soils cause reduction of iron, and these soils tend to be greenish and bluish, to have greenish or bluish hues. All right, so soil color is usually affected by the water content. So particularly in Bayelsa State, where there's water, the soils are usually waterlogged or are usually hydric. The soils are usually gray with brown or yellow mottles, and that affects the groundwater because the iron in the surface of the soil is washed down, okay, to the aquifer. And that's why when we drink water from our boreholes, we tend to have a lot of iron in our water because of the hydric nature of the soils in Bayelsa State. Thus, soil color is affected by water so that it is necessary to state the condition of the soil with regards to how wet or dry or moist when describing the color of any soil. Other coloring materials sometimes present include white calcium carbonate, black manganese oxide, and black carbon compounds. All of these can affect soil coloration. Soil color is typically described using some form of color reference chart, such as Munsell color chart. The Munsell color chart is used to describe the soil color. Using the Munsell system, color is described in reference to the color's hue, value, or chroma. The color's hue, value of chroma. The hue describes where in the color spectrum the soil color exists, which for soils includes the colors yellow, red, blue, green, and gray. Value describes the lightness of the color, while chroma indicates the strength of the color in the Munsell notation. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel